Lady and the Lion Prince. Once upon a time, there was a rich man who had a daughter named Dorothy. He loved her dearly. One day, as he was leaving for a long voyage for business, he asked his daughter what she would like him to bring back to her. "Dear father, I would like a beautiful singing nightingale."
Very well, my daughter.
He bid farewell to his daughter and left with his servant. After he finished his business dealings, the rich man searched everywhere for a singing nightingale. But it was all in vain. There were simply no nightingales to be found. But his searching brought him to a forest. He went on till he found a magnificent castle with a tall tree at the side of it. And there, upon that tree, sat a beautiful nightingale, singing melodiously. So, the rich man said to his servant,
"Go up to that tree and get that nightingale."
But just as the servant was about to approach the tree, a lion jumped out from behind the tree and roared.
"Who dares to steal my nightingale? I will eat you, thief." "My apologies. I did not know that the bird is yours. Please spare our lives. I'll pay you a great reward." "Nothing can save you unless you promise to give me the first thing that meets you when you return home. If you agree, I shall spare your life and give you the bird as well." But what if it is my Dorothy?"
Don't worry, sir. Your daughter isn't usually the first one to meet you.
The rich man agreed to the lion's demand. But when the rich man reached home, Dorothy ran towards him and hugged him tightly. After seeing that he brought the nightingale, she was filled with joy. The rich man could not rejoice and began to cry.
"My dear Dorothy, it has cost me, for I had to make a promise to the Lion Prince that I would send him the first person to meet me at home."
The rich man explained all that had happened. "Oh, father, a promise is a promise. I must go."
"No, he will kill you."
"No, not even a lion can change my fate, father." The next day, Dorothy left for the forest. But what she didn't know was that the lion was an enchanted prince. By day, he was a mighty lion, as were all his followers, and by night, they would all transform back into human form. When Dorothy reached the forest, she was taken to the castle on a golden carriage, led by lions.
"Welcome, my beautiful queen. I see that your father has been true to his word. Surprising. I shall be honored to have you as my wife."
"I am greatly flattered, but I cannot marry you because you are a lion." Just then, a ray of moonlight shone through the window, and the Lion Prince magically transformed, leaving a handsome prince before her.
"I am a prince, and we have been bound by an enchantment that makes us lions by day."
Dorothy smiled, for she was happy, and in time, she grew to love the prince. Soon, their wedding was held. They lived happily together as lions would, sleeping through the day and staying up all night. One day, the Lion Prince came up to her and said,
"There is a celebration at your father's house tomorrow. If you wish, the lions could escort you there."
"That would be so lovely. But my prince, I will not go alone. You will come along as well."
"My bride, I cannot. There is a second part to the enchantment placed upon me. If even a small beam of light touches me, I will turn into a swan for 7 years."
"Do not worry. I will make sure to keep you safe and protect you from every ray of light." So the prince and the princess got ready to go. The rich man was delighted to learn about the Lion Prince. He welcomed him. The princess had a great hall built, with walls so thick that no ray of light could penetrate through them. This was where the lion was to rest when the torches and candles were kindled. But the princess did not realize that the great hall was built with fresh wood, and as it dried, it split, causing a crack so small that it was not noticed until it was too late. As the procession of people with torches and lights came back from the celebration, a small ray of light fell upon the Lion Prince, and in that moment, the Lion Prince turned into a swan. When Dorothy returned, she saw nothing but a white swan sitting there.
For the next 7 years, I will be a swan, and I must fly, but there is hope. Every 7th step, I shall drop a white feather, and if you follow the trail, you can set me free.
Princess Dorothy followed the white swan faithfully, following her true love wherever he flew. For 7 years, she followed him. Oh, I'm so glad that these 7 years are almost over. We shall soon be free of our troubles. One day, the white feathers ceased to drop, and Dorothy's hopes were crushed. Princess Dorothy climbed up a tree as the wind blew. She asked, "You blow among all the trees and leaves. Have you seen a white swan flying by?"
I have seen the white swan. It has flown away to the Red Sea, where it has regained its form of a lion. Right at this moment, he is fighting with a mighty dragon, who is actually an enchanted princess named Beatrice. Here is a magic wand. Go to the Red Sea and point it towards the dragon and say, "Abracadabra." After this, they will both regain their human form.
Dorothy thanked the wind, and when she reached the Red Sea, she found the Lion Prince and the dragon fighting. She immediately removed her magic wand and pointed towards the dragon. "Abracadabra!" The magic from the wand hit the dragon, and she fell onto the ground. The Lion Prince put his paw on her, and immediately they both returned to their human forms. The dragon, restored to her form as Princess Beatrice, thanked both of them and left towards her kingdom. The prince and princess, too, returned to their kingdom and lived happily ever after in the light. The end. The Glowing Princess. A long time ago, there lived a king who fell very ill because of an evil spell. According to the spell, there was only one thing that could save him, and that was the dirt from a rabbit hole that was at least 10 years old. As you might guess, this was a tough spell to break.
I shall go to the end of the world to find it.
The prince set out into the forest to find a rabbit's hole. He rode along, but no rabbit could be seen, until suddenly one rabbit shot across his path. Rabbit entered a cave, and so did the prince, a cave that belonged to an evil giant.
Now, who do we have here? A prince it is. How dare you enter my cave? I need the soil from a rabbit's hole. Please let me get that. My father's life depends on it, and then I'll be out of your way. Am I a fool to let you go? You're going nowhere.
The giant put the prince into a cage.
Let me go, please.
For 2 days, the prince stayed in the cage. He tried his best to get out, but he couldn't. He was sick with worry about his dear father. On the second night, the cage was suddenly opened. The prince winced at a strange light, and he saw a maiden, the most glowing lady there ever could have been in the entire world. I am the rabbit you followed the other day. The giant has enchanted me such that I become a rabbit by day and regain my true form of a princess at night. Quick! The giant is out. Run away before he comes back and takes this earth from a 10-year-old rabbit's hole for your father. Go now!
Could you repeat that a little bit slower? Giant is out. You want me to run away before he comes back,
Yes.
and you want me to take some of your dirt.
Right about now would be good, yeah?
Are you 10?
Yes.
As a rabbit, are you 10?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Give me your dirt.
Here you go.
Pile it on. A little bit more. Oh, and, is there anything I can do to help you? Do you want to just stay here and be a rabbit, or?
No, I'm good. Yes, of course I'd like some help.
Okay, what can I do to help you?
Escape from here now, and then when your father is well, go out and wander into the world. You will find a way to help me. Now leave.
Those are pretty vague directions, but, I'm a good wanderer. Okay, see ya somewhere.
Bye. The prince did as he was told. He went into the palace and saved his father's life. And then, as the princess had said, he decided to wander around the world.
Father, now that you're well, I got a neat story to tell you. You know that dirt that I made you eat before you got well? I got that from a rabbit. Not just any rabbit. This rabbit was actually a princess. Cursed to be a rabbit sometimes during the day. Anyway, skip forward. I'm supposed to leave you and go wander aimlessly around the world until I find her, and that's all she told me. But I'll figure it out from there. Love you, Dad. Glad you're well. There's some dirt in the fridge. My son, I understand, more or less. Thank you for the dirt. The rabbit princess saved my life. You have to go do whatever you need to do to help her. Got it. Okay. So, thanks. Also, I think I'm gonna do this as, like, a regular peasant man and see what trade I can learn while I go. I don't know how long this wandering thing is gonna take. I might as well get some sort of occupational education. Very well. All the best, son. Good luck.
So the prince left the palace as an ordinary youth. He wandered far when one night he met a fisherman at an inn.
Hey, young man. I haven't seen you around here before. Are you new? Yes, I'm looking to learn how to trade. Learn a trade. I would like to learn your trade. Then why don't you follow me? I could use some help with some strong hands like yours. Care to become a fisherman? Yes.
So the prince went with the fisherman and learned the trade of fishing. After a few days, when work was over, the fisherman said,
This net was given to me by a wizard. No one could escape from this net. Take it with you as payment. Thank you so much.
And so, the prince moved on. When he was hungry, he fished. When he needed money, he sold fish. And he reached a new kingdom, the palace of which shone with 1,000 bright lights at night. He asked someone passing by about it.
My man, I'm new here. Please tell me, why is this palace decorated?
Oh, the palace is decorated every night. The king, as a proud father, celebrates the beauty of our princess, and the king challenges the lady who glows more than his daughter.
Why such an emphasis on beauty?
It's just the pride of a father.
Oh, okay.
The prince went to the king's court.
Your Highness, I know of a maiden like glowing, sunny things. I know, I saw a girl. She's pretty and bright. She's like the sunlight of the sun itself. I'm sorry, I really didn't think this through before I came. Your Highness, I know of a maiden as glowing like the sun itself. Fisherman, I give you a week. Bring her here. Yes, very well.
So the prince went back to the forest and found his way to the giant's cave. He entered the cave. They had a huge fight. He captured him in his net, and the giant was imprisoned. The prince held the princess, and both came out of the cave. The prince told the princess all about the king and his daughter.
So now that I've rescued you, we need to go on this mission to help out this other princess. She's tired of her dad bragging on and on about her beauty. The whole palace is decorated. You gotta come see it. What do you say?
Okay, yes, I understand. Sounds good. Let's do it. Road trip!
Alright, so how do we get the enchantment, the giant's spell curse thingy on you about the rabbit stuff to be broken forever? We gotta get that taken care of.
Yeah, sure. So it can be broken if I walk through a mist of gold.
As a woman or as a rabbit?
I don't know. We'll just have to try both. How much time do you have? So they traveled to the kingdom.
Where is the maid that you said is more beautiful than my daughter? Your Highness, to reveal her, I need a good amount of gold mist from your treasury. Do you have, like, one of those little misty bottles?
The king was very desperate to see the glowing princess, so he ordered,
Get him a bowl of gold dust. The dust must be put into pipes to be blown into the air so it rises like a golden mist. It's part of the presentation of the most beautiful princess in the world.
Your Highness, he's wasting our time and your gold dust.
If he's wasting our time, he shall pay for it.
So the gold dust was filled into pipes, and guards blew it so that the dust rose like a thick golden mist. Then the princess arrived. She walked out from the golden mist. Her enchantment was finally broken, and the entire court sat mesmerized by her immense beauty.
My lady, you are indeed the most glowing woman in the world.
See, Father? Now please, stop bragging about my beauty to everyone.
I am sorry, my dear.
The prince told the king everything. The king arranged for them to go back to the prince's kingdom, where they were married and lived happily ever after. The giant never bothered them again, but they were careful to never venture near his cave. The end. King Grizzlybeard. Once upon a time, in the faraway kingdom, a king named Michael had a daughter named Dinah, who was as beautiful as a flower. But she was very selfish and overconfident that no suitor was good enough for her. She mocked many princes as they came to marry her. Once, King Michael made a great feast and invited all eligible suitors. Then they were presented before the king's daughter. But with each man she saw, she had some objection to make. One was too fat, another was too tall, the third was too short, the fourth was too pale. So she had something to say against everyone. But she taunted a good king who stood there and whose beard had grown weird. He has a beard like a grizzly bear. From that time, he got the name King Grizzlybeard. But the old king, when he saw that his daughter did nothing but mock the suitors and hated all the suitors who were gathered there, was very angry and swore that she must marry the first beggar that came to his doors. A few days afterward, a beggar came and sang beneath the windows. When the king heard him, he said,
Let him come up.
So the beggar came in his dirty, ragged clothes, and sang before the king and his daughter. And when he had ended, he asked for a small gift. The king said,
Your song has pleased me so well that I will give you my daughter as a gift, as your wife.
The king's daughter trembled. But the king said,
I have taken an oath to give you the very first beggar, daughter, and I will keep it.
The princess was speechless and had no choice but to marry the beggar. Then the king said,
Now, my daughter, it is not proper for you as a beggar woman to stay any longer in my palace. You may just have to go away with your husband.
The beggar led her out by the hand, and she was obligated to walk away on foot with him. When they came to a large forest, she asked, To whom does that beautiful forest belong?
It belongs to King Grizzlybeard. If you had taken him, it would have been your forest.
Ah, what an unlucky girl I am. Afterward, they came to a meadow. To whom does this beautiful meadow belong?
It belongs to King Grizzlybeard. If you had taken him, it would have been your meadow.
Ah, what an unlucky girl I am. Then they came to a large town. To whom does this fine large town belong?
It belongs to King Grizzlybeard. If you had taken him, it would have been your town.
Oh, what an unlucky girl I am. At last, they came to a very little hut. Oh, goodness! To whom does this miserable, nasty hut belong?
That is my house, where we will live together.
She goes into the hut. Where are the servants?
What servants? You are my wife now. Make my supper. I am quite tired.
So, I'm your servant.
Yes.
But Dinah knew nothing about cooking, and the beggar had to cook himself supper. Then they went to bed, but he forced her to get up early in the morning. For a few days, they lived in this way and finished all their supplies.
Wife, we cannot go on any longer earning nothing. I will try to sell clay pots. You must sit in the marketplace and sell the pottery.
If any of the people from my father's kingdom come to the market and see me sitting there selling, how will they mock me? But Beggar was in no mood to listen to her. The next day, she sat down at the corner of the marketplace. But suddenly, there came a drunken horseman, and he rode through the pots so that they were all broken into 1,000 bits. She began to weep now. What to do?
Oh, no!
She ran home and told Beggar of the misfortune.
Don't cry now. I can see that you cannot do any work. So I have been to our king's palace and have asked whether they have a place for a kitchen maid. And they promised to hire you. In that way, you will get your food for nothing.
Dinah was now a maid and did the dirtiest work. In both her pockets, she fastened a little jar in which she took home the leftovers, and each night she brought that food home to her husband. At the wedding of the king's eldest son, the poor princess went to the king's courtroom and placed herself by the door to watch. But servants carried dishes full of delicious food past her. The servants had pity on her and threw a few pieces to her as they passed. These she put in her jars to take home. Then the king's son entered, and when he saw the beautiful woman standing by the door, he took her by the hand and would have danced with her, but she refused and shrank back with fear, for she saw that it was King Grizzlybeard, the suitor she had driven away with her cruel comments. But she could not resist. He took her into the dancing room. As they came to the center of the floor, the string in her pockets, which held the jars, broke. The jars fell, hit the floor, and food was scattered across the floor. She was very ashamed. She jumped to the door and would have run away, but on the stairs, the prince caught her and brought her back. He said to her kindly,
Do not be afraid. I am the beggar and the horseman. It was because of my love for you that I disguised myself. Sometimes, without humbling, humility cannot be reached.
Then she began to cry, then said, I am not worthy to be your wife.
Be comforted. The evil days are past. Now we will celebrate our wedding.
Then the maids came and put most marvelous clothing on her, and her father and his whole court wished happiness in her marriage with King Grizzlybeard. After that, they lived happily ever after. The end. The Musician. Once upon a time, there was a very talented young musician named Augusto, who lived in Italy. To become a master at playing his fiddle, he leaves his home in the village and makes his new home in a forest and among the trees. And in a very short amount of time, he reached his goal of becoming a master of the fiddle, from playing to the tunes of the whistle in the trees and the waves of bending meadow grasses. Now he wishes to prove himself in front of an audience, so he thought of all manner of things. And when nothing was left for him to think about, he said to himself,
This is taking far too long. I will seek out a good companion for myself, and to him I can show off my music also.
Then he took his fiddle, which he always carried with him, and played so that it echoed through the forest. It was not long before a wolf came trotting through the thicket towards him.
Ah, a wolf! Help!
But the wolf came nearer and said to him,
Oh, dear musician, how beautifully you play. I should like to learn that too.
It is easily learned. All you must do is anything I tell you to do.
Oh, musician, I will obey you as a student obeys his teacher.
The musician asked the wolf to follow, and when they had gone part of the way together, they came to an old oak tree, which was hollow inside and broken in the middle.
Look, if you want to learn to fiddle, put your paws into this crevice.
The wolf obeyed, but the musician quickly picked up a stone, and with one blow wedged his two paws so fast that he was forced to stay there like a prisoner.
Stay there until I come back again,
said the musician, and went his way. After a while, he again said to himself,
Things are taking too long here in the forest. I will find another companion.
And he took to his fiddle again and played in the forest. It was not long before a fox came creeping through the trees towards him.
A fox is coming! Oh dear! Help!
The fox came up to him and said,
Oh, dear musician, how beautifully you do play. I should like to learn that too.
That is quickly learned. All you have to do is everything I command you,
said the musician.
Oh, musician, I will obey you as a dog obeys his owner.
Then follow me.
And when they had walked part of the way, they came to a footpath with high bushes on both sides of it. There, the musician stood still, and from one side bent a young hazel bush down to the ground and put his foot on the top of it. Then he bent down a young tree from the other side as well, and said,
Now, little fox, if you want to learn something, give me your left front paw.
The fox obeyed, and the musician fastened his paw to the left bush.
Little fox, now give me your right paw.
And he tied it to the right bush. Then he had examined whether they were firm enough. He let go, and the bushes sprang up again and jerked up the little fox so that it hung, struggling in the air.
Wait there till I come back again,
said the musician, and went his way. Again he said to himself,
Everything is taking forever for me here in the forest. I shall seek out another companion.
So he took his fiddle, and the sound echoed through the forest. Then a little rabbit came springing towards him.
Oh no, a rabbit is coming. What good is a rabbit for a friend? I hope he goes away.
Ah, dear musician, how beautifully you do play the fiddle. I, too, should like to learn that.
That is quickly learned. All you have to do is everything I command you.
Oh, musician, I will obey you as a student obeys his teacher.
They went a part of the way together until they came to an open space in the forest where stood an aspen tree. The musician tied a long string round the little rabbit's neck, the other end of which he fastened to the tree.
Now quickly, dear little rabbit, run 20 times round the tree,
cried the musician, and the little rabbit obeyed. And when it had run around 20 times, it had twisted the string 20 times round the trunk of the tree, and the little rabbit was caught. And let it pull and tug as it liked, it only made the string cut into its tender neck.
Wait there until I come back,
said the musician, and went onwards. The wolf, in the meantime, had pushed and pulled and bitten at the stone, and had worked so long that he had set himself free, and had drawn them once more out of the hollow tree. Full of anger and rage, he hurried after the musician, and he wanted to tear him to pieces. When the fox saw him running, he began to lament and cried with all his might.
Brother Wolf, come help me. The musician has betrayed me.
The wolf drew down the little tree, bit the cord in two, and freed the fox, who went with him to take revenge on the musician. They found the tied-up rabbit, whom likewise they delivered, and then they all sought the enemy together. The musician had once more played his fiddle as he went on his way, and this time he had been more fortunate. The sound reached the ears of a poor woodcutter, who instantly was mesmerized by the enchanting music, gave up his work, and came with his hatchet under his arm to listen to the music.
At last comes the right companion, for I was seeking a human being and no wild beast.
And he began, and played so beautifully and delightfully that the poor man stood there as if bewitched, and his heart leaped with gladness. And as he thus stood, the wolf, the fox, and the rabbit came up, and he saw well that they had some evil plan. So he raised his gleaming axe and placed himself before the musician as if to say,
Whoever wants to arm the musician will have to go through me first.
Then the wild animals were terrified at the man's threat and ran back into the forest. The musician, however, played once more to the man out of gratitude, and then continued on his way. The end. The Tale of Tom Thumb. Once there was a very old beggar was wandering through the densely wooded forest. One day, when his feet were very sore, he knocked on the door of a one-eyed orc named Gogo and begged for a bite to eat. The orc, Gogo, and his wife, Gigi, welcomed the stranger into their cave. While his wife put some bread on a small plate, they realized that their guest was none other than Merlin, the greatest and most skillful wizard of all the realms.
Oh, great Merlin, please accept our humble assistance. You both are very humble and generous. I am well pleased. Therefore, I wish to offer you anything you desire.
He snapped his fingers twice, and then bubbles appeared above his head with images in them.
Ah, skadoosh! Shiny heaps of gold, sparkling diamond mines. Tell me, what do you wish for?
Oh, I should be the happiest creature in the world if I had a son. Even if he was no bigger than my husband's thumb, I would be satisfied.
Gigi gazed at her thumb in wistful longing. Merlin was so amused with the idea of an orc boy no bigger than a thumb that he decided to grant the poor woman's wish. And poof! there came a sweet little orc boy holding Gigi's thumb. The new orc parents felt utter happiness, and they thanked Merlin countless times. Soon after, the wizard departed from his humble host's dwelling. Tom never grew any larger than his father's thumb. That's why everyone called him Tom Thumb. Gogo and Gigi never let their very tiny son disappear from their sight for fear of losing him. They crafted a small toy house for him to live in. And as he got older, he became a very cunning and clever lad. One day, Gogo was getting ready to go into the forest to cut wood. He said to himself,
I wish I had someone to drive the cart to me.
Father, I can bring the cart all by myself.
Gogo laughed, and he answered,
Well, let's at least try.
When the time came, Tom asked his mother to harness the horse to the cart, and then he sat in the horse's ear and gave him directions. So the horse went the correct way through the densely wooded forest. It happened that, as they turned a corner, Tom was calling out,
Gently, gently.
Two humans responded to his cry of distress. One of them saw the horse and heard the voice, but couldn't see the rider.
What an odd thing that is. There goes the cart, and the rider is talking to the horse. But still, the rider is not to be seen.
They started to follow the cart out of curiosity, wondering what sort of strange magic this was. The cart drove directly into the forest and exactly to the place where Gogo was working. Then Tom, seeing his father, called out to him,
Do you see, Dad? I have arrived with the cart.
Gogo took his son and put the boy onto his shoulder. The two strangers were looking upward all this time and did not know what to say, as they were simply flabbergasted. Then one of them rattled the other by the shoulders, saying with greedy excitement,
We must steal the little orc. He would make our fortune. People from all over would pay to see a little freak like him. We'd be rich, rich, I tell you.
So, they hastily disguised themselves by covering with branches and leaves. When Gogo was taking a shortcut through the woods, they gingerly grabbed Tom by putting a hand over his tiny mouth and swiftly stuffing him inside their satchel. And just like that, they slipped away, cloaked in the shadows of the tall pines of the forest.
Help, Dad! Help me!
Tom was shouting, but no one could hear him. The two strange kidnappers journeyed onward till dusk had begun to fall, and Tom requested with urgency in his voice,
Will you please set me down? I need to go to the bathroom.
Don't you fool us, piggy boy. We know you just want to escape and run away, right?
No, sir. But if you doubt me, then I suggest you tie me with a thread.
They agreed to bind the boy in a thread. With one end tied to Tom and the other tied to the human's hand, they released him and allowed him to relieve himself. Tom nimbly slipped into a mouse hole and cut the thread with his strong teeth. The men stuck their sticks into the hole, but it was all in vain because Tom crept still farther into the hole. As it became darker and darker, they were forced to give up in frustration. After a while, when Tom realized that his kidnappers were gone, he crept out of the hole. As he was walking, he heard two goblins chatting together about how to rob his father, Gogo. He then came out from the shell and disrupted their scheming with cunning cleverness.
I could tell you how. I can slip through the door of the cave, then into the safe, and I can get you as much gold as you want. What do you say?
And why would you help us out like that? What's in it for you, you little thing?
I would get my fair share of the loot, of course.
Yeah, why not? Let's go then.
Goblin carries Tom atop his head, and off they went. As they approached Gogo's cave, Tom slipped through a tiny little crack in the cave and opened the door for them by pulling a small lever that his father had specially made for Tom. The two goblins entered the cave, their eyes gleaming with the glitter of greediness. They double-checked to make sure that the orc couple were sleeping and proceeded to stealthily traverse to the treasury room. As the goblins began to selfishly stuff gold into their satchel, Tom closed the treasure room door by pulling yet another lever, trapping them inside. He called out,
Dad! Dad, come here! I have captured robbers!
Both Gogo and Gigi wake up, with a smile dancing across their faces as they hear their son and run towards the sound of his sweet voice.
My little Tom has returned.
The whole family cried tears of gratitude and joy at the reunion of their family, as well as the safety of their belongings. Gigi then picked up her son Tom and kissed him. Soon, they heard the whispering of the two would-have-been thieving goblins from the treasure room.
Hey, tomboy, come on, open the door. Your share of the treasure is here, just waiting for you. Tom, you there? Can you hear me now?
The whole orc family laughed at their intruder's predicament. And then Gogo went to teach them a lesson and beat them good and hard. Soon, Tom could hear the goblins crying for mercy and in fear of their lives. When Gogo finally emerged from out of the treasury room, two goblins were swinging upside down in his tightly fisted grasp. And Tom felt so very proud to be the son of such awe-inspiring parents.
From now on, we will treat you as the orc treat another. I am proud of you, my son.
The end. The Magic Porridge Pot. Once upon a time, there was a sweet little girl named Melody. She lived with her mother in a small cottage. They were very, very poor, but Melody tried to make her mother happy by singing songs to her. Every day, Melody used to go into the woods to find something to eat. She used to bring back whatever she could find, but their bellies were never full. One day, saddened with their poverty, Melody left the house and went into the woods looking for something to eat. No matter how hard she searched, there was nothing to be found. Finally, Melody could bear it no more. She sat on a rock and started to cry. While crying, she sang a sad song in her sweet, melodious voice. Hearing her voice, a forest fairy appeared in front of her and said,
What happened, my child? Why are you crying? And what are you doing alone in the woods? I am here to find something to eat for me and my mother. We are very poor and very hungry,
said Melody with grief on her face.
Don't worry,
the fairy said, and with her magical wand, she changed a pebble into a big magical pot. Melody was amazed to see the magic.
Take this pot home, and your family shall never be hungry again. I don't want to be rude, but what good is an empty pot if there's no food in it to cook?
Melody said in a disheartening voice, to which the fairy answered,
This is a magical pot. When you want something to eat, say, Cook, pot, cook. And when it's ready, say, Stop, pot, stop.
Melody was delighted with the gift she got from the fairy, and, with due respect, she asked the fairy,
Oh, dear fairy godmother, I don't have enough words to thank you. Please, tell me what I can do for you in return. I don't want anything in return. But if you want, you can sing me a beautiful song every day.
Before Melody could ask any more questions, the forest fairy disappeared. When Melody arrived home with nothing but an empty pot, her mother was very unhappy and said, What use is the pot if you have nothing to cook in it? Melody lifted the pot to the table and simply said,
Cook, pot, cook.
Nothing happened. Melody looked worried, but then the pot started to shake and hissed. The steam rose, and up bubbled the creamiest porridge they had ever seen. Melody's mother understood that the pot was magical. She was so hungry that she could not resist the creamy porridge, and she licked it with her finger. She was overwhelmed with the taste of the porridge so much that she did not pay attention to Melody's other command.
Stop, pot, stop.
They ate and ate until the pot was empty and their stomachs were full. Melody's mother rubbed her stomach happily. Melody then thought,
Oh, it's time for me to go and sing a song for the forest fairy.
So she left the house and went into the woods again. Here at home, her mother was so happy that they would never have to worry about the food again. She collected all the old pots in which she used to cook and threw them away to make space for the new one. Or not. She polished and patted the new pot. All this hard work made her hungry again. Cook, pot, cook, she commanded, and presto! From inside the pot, more delicious porridge bubbled up. Not even bothering to get the bowl, she ate directly from the pot. Delicious! But as quickly as she ate, the pot kept filling up until it was set to bubble up right over the edge. Oh dear, how did Melody make the pot stop? Enough, pot, enough! But the pot bubbled on. It's plenty, pot, it's plenty! The porridge steamed over the edge onto the table. Really? That will do! The porridge pours over the floor. Melody's mother starts to panic. Cease! Finish! No more! She commanded. Soon, she realized that she had made a great mistake and ran away. The porridge poured out from the doors and windows onto the streets, bubbling and forming a great wave, and rolled through the village. people gathered up on their rooftops and started to call for help. Melody heard the villagers calling out in distress. She raced down the woods towards the village. She took a wooden plank and a stick and rode towards her house. When she reached just outside her house, she shouted,
Stop, pot, stop!
and that is just what the pot did. As the bubbling subsided, Melody saw that all the villagers were reaching down and lifting a handful of creamy porridge to their mouth. The whole village enjoyed the porridge. They ate and ate and ate the whole winter long, and no one in the village was hungry ever again. The end. The Magical Bottle. Abu was a fisherman. He lived near the beach and had been fishing for as long as he could remember. When he was young, he would stay at sea all night. In the morning, he would return with a big catch of fresh fish, which he would sell at the local market. And now, Abu was almost 80 years old and too old to go out to sea in his boat. So instead, he would throw his net out from the shore 4 times a day. He would eat some of the fish, and the rest he would sell for a little money. One day, he went out to the sea in the morning. He threw his net over the water. After some time, he could feel something heavy trapped in the net. He pulled and pulled and pulled, and it took all his strength to get his net up onto the shore, and found a dead donkey tangled in the net.
Oh no!
He cried.
All this effort for a dead donkey? What will I do? What can I eat?
So he thought about old King Solomon, an ancient king who was known for his wisdom. And then the old man once more cast his net into the water, and soon he could tell he had caught something. This time the net was even heavier. With all his strength again, Abu slowly pulled up the net to shore, and inside was a barrel full of sand.
Oh no!
He cried again.
All of this effort for a barrel full of sand. What will I do? What can I eat?
Again, he thought about King Solomon's great wisdom and decided to persevere. Abu cast his net into the water a 3rd time. This time, something even heavier got trapped in the net. It made a clanging sound like pots and pans banging against each other. And guess what it was? A whole bunch of old pots and pans. They were all rusted and of no use. So Abu looked to the sky and cried out,
Ah, why do I deserve this? I have only the strength to cast my net 4 times in each day, and I've already done it 3 times. If I cannot catch any fish the 4th time, I'll surely die of hunger today. Why must I capture all of this junk?
With his prayer on his lips, Abu threw the net one last time. This time, something even heavier got trapped in the net. Abu had to wade deep into the water to pull the net out. He saw it was a brass bottle. This time, Abu was happy. Even though he had not caught any fish, the brass bottle looked solid. Perhaps he could sell it for more gold coins and have enough food for the next month. But he saw that the bottle had lead seal on it. And looking closely, Abu realized that the seal was none other than King Solomon's. He was now very curious to know what was inside the bottle. He opened the seal with a knife. As soon as he opened it, a huge magical creature came out from the bottle. It shot out 100 feet into the sky with a huge roar. Abu was so scared he cried out in fear. The creature noticed Abu and shrunk down to just 10 feet so he could talk with Abu.
Fisherman, did you free me?
It thundered.
Me? Yes, magical creature. My name is Abu.
Abu. A fine name.
said the creature with a smile.
I have been trapped in that bottle for a long time. Thank you, fisherman Abu. Now tell me, how would you like to die?
Die? But, sir, I freed you. Why would you want to kill me?
I was trapped in that bottle by King Solomon, fisherman Abu.
But Solomon ruled this land almost 2,000 years ago.
Yes, 1,800 years ago, to be precise. I rebelled against him. So Solomon defeated me and trapped me in this bottle. Then he had the bottle thrown into the sea. I have regretted my mistake ever since.
But that means I have freed you from prison. Why do you want to kill me?
For 1,000 years, I wished someone would free me. I pledged that I would give that person enough wealth to last his lifetime, but no one came. Then in anger, I pledged that I would kill the man that would free me. But I would allow that man to choose the way he would die. So, how would you like to die, fisherman Abu?
Abu thought again of King Solomon's wisdom, and then a clever idea came to him.
Sir, you claim that Solomon trapped you in that bottle? But I don't believe you.
What?
Cried the creature, and his voice boomed like 100 thunders.
You are so tall. Your hands are like the trunk of the tree. There's no way you could have fit inside that tiny bottle. I don't care if I die, but I don't want to be killed by a liar.
You puny fisherman. I may be evil and mean and make stupid promises, but I never lied a lie in my life.
Then prove it.
Said Abu. The creature swished its hands. It turned into smoke and slowly, bit by bit, entered the bottle. And from inside it shouted,
See? I can fit into this bottle.
Abu quickly picked up the lead seal and trapped the creature inside the bottle again. The creature tried his best to come out, but he could not break the seal. Then the creature roared in thunder, but then calmed himself down and said sneakily,
You tricked me! I give up. You're too clever for me, Abu. Now, I wish to get out of this jar, and I pledge I will give the man who freed me his youth back. Good deal, right? Come on, free me, Abu. Your prize is waiting for you.
Abu listened calmly, and with a cunning smile he said,
You think I am a fool? I have lived my life to the fullest, and I don't need anything more than that. I may be old, but not foolish enough to free you again. Now, bye-bye.
No, wait. Let me make another deal for you.
Abu threw the bottle back into the sea and was grateful that his life was saved. The end. The Magical Wishing Pond. Once upon a time, there was a little princess named Jasmine. She was her father's only child, and she was spoiled. She was very stubborn and very selfish. She was always hungry for delicious food. One day, a magician visited the king to give him blessings and to warn him about a magical wishing pond within his dynasty.
O king, I came here to give you an ominous warning. Ooh, about a wishing pond in your state, which is...
At the same time, little Jasmine was passing by the courtroom, and she saw the magician talking to her father. She got excited when she heard about the magical wishing pond. As soon as she heard about a magical wishing pond, she ran to her room without staying to listen to the magician's full sentence.
I must go to the magical wishing pond to ask for delicious food.
The next day morning, Jasmine hurriedly got ready and started her journey towards the pond. At noon, she reached it with few gold coins in her pocket. She wanted to wish for many things, like a delicious cake, ice cream, hamburger, pizza, crispy turkey, chocolates, cookies, and many more. But when she read the warning sign at the pond, she was disappointed. It said, 1 wish per person.
Magic pond, give me a wish. Grant me a food pot, which will give me a treat.
Suddenly, a magical pot came up from the pond, following a whisper. Here is your wish. What you ask for. Follow my instructions, or it will work not. You have to say 3 magical words. Ting, tong, twang. Then the magical pot will begin making delicious food. It will fulfill your hungriest desires. But do not forget to say stop pot stop, or else it will make food non-stop.
Okay, whatever.
Jasmine came back to her palace. She was very curious about the magical pot and mumbled the magical words.
Ting tong twain, I want chocolate cake and cocoa pudding.
Magically, the pot started making a fountain of chocolate pudding and cake. Jasmine dove in and ate as though she were starving. Days and days passed as she asked for her every kind of food she could think of. She started to gain lots of weight. One day, King visited her. He saw a fat kid eating a chicken leg, and he came near. He didn't realize it was his daughter until he came closer. He was surprised and said,
Oh, my dear princess, what have you done to yourself?
Father, I visited a magical wishing pond a few days earlier and asked for a magic food pot. Now, for the last few days, I've been making wishes for food, and last night, I forgot the magical words to stop the pot.
The king realized how selfish and greedy she was, and he held the crying princess in his arms and said,
Dear princess, you never listen to anyone. I know you heard that magician talk about the magical wishing pond, but you must not have listened to everything he said. Oh, king, I came here to give you an ominous warning. A wishing pond in your state, which grants wishes, but those wishes always come with a consequence. It is an evil magical pond. I suggest you destroy it as soon as possible. Now you know, my dear princess, why this is happening.
Then the king summoned his guards and ordered,
Pick up that pot and burn it in the fire.
Immediately, guards followed the instructions, and they put the pot in the burning stove and watched till it melted and turned to ashes. Afterward, the princess started to do daily exercise, and soon she came into her original shape. After that, they lived happily forever. Moral of the story: never act on half-heard stories. The end. The 3 Magical Wishes. Once upon a time, in the city of Florence, there was a very handsome and intelligent little boy named Johnny, who had lost his mother when he was very young. After several years, his father got married once again, and now he was taken care of by his stepmother named Rubella. She was a cruel woman who desired to destroy Johnny and his father.
I don't like this boy and his father, but first, I have to get rid of this young one. What can I do to get him to leave this house? I don't feed him, I don't treat him well, and he is still here.
Meanwhile, Johnny was sitting at the table.
This bread is so hard. I have to go to the water fountain and soak it in some water so I can eat it.
When he was at the water fountain, soaking the bread, an old man who looks dirty passed by.
I am so hungry. Can you please give me a piece of your bread, little boy? Of course, sir. It's just that it's very hard and I don't have something better to give you. I don't mind.
And the old man ate the bread.
Thank you, son. You just did a good deed, and you deserve a reward. You should know that I am not a beggar, as it seems. I am a very powerful wizard. I will grant you 3 wishes.
Johnny scratched his head and thought about what he wanted.
Well, I've been thinking, and I want these 3 things. First, that every time my stepmother looks at me, she must start laughing and laughing and laughing. Second, I want a ball that whenever I throw it, it will not stop bouncing. And third, a magic flute that can make people dance. Your wishes have been granted. Here, you have your bouncing ball and your flute.
Then the man disappeared, and Johnny went home. He went straight to see his stepmother.
Mother, I just finished eating my bread.
Very. Oh my, I can't stop laughing. And the more she looked at the boy, the more she laughed.
Why are you laughing, Mother? What is so funny?
He then realized that the spell was working now.
I will go to my room now. See you tomorrow.
And as soon as the boy left the room, she stopped laughing. What is wrong with me? I couldn't stop laughing. And every time the boy came to see his stepmother, she would start laughing. She couldn't do anything. She couldn't cook, take care of the house, eat, and she couldn't even sleep. She could only laugh and laugh. There must be someone who can help me. I can't go on like this. She asked the doctors for help, but none could find a cure. The doctors gave me medicines, but they wouldn't help. I wonder who can help me. I know. I will go to the hill. People say that a magician lives there. They say that he is very wise. So the next day, she went looking for the magician.
You are under a spell.
I think it was my stepson.
He put a mysterious and magical spell on you. Let me talk to him.
And the magician went to the water fountain, where he found the boy Johnny soaking his bread.
Hello, young boy. Who are you? I am someone who is trying to help your stepmother. Tell me at once, what did you do to her? I didn't do anything. Who did you talk to these last few days? What have you been doing? Tell me. You ask too many questions, and I'm getting tired. Do you see this ball? Yes. Why?
Then the boy threw the ball, and it started bouncing and bouncing.
If you get the ball and make it stop, I will tell you what you want to know.
The magician chased the ball throughout the field until he got lost along with the ball. Since the magician couldn't get the information, the stepmother decided to take Johnny to the king.
What are the charges against this young boy?
He's a wizard.
How do you know?
Well, every time I look at him, I can't stop laughing.
I can see that. You can hardly talk. Anyway, I'm in a hurry. Boy, you have to go to jail. Very well, but before going to jail, I would like to play my flute. Play it as long as you want.
As soon as Johnny started playing the flute, his stepmother, the courtiers, the king, and everybody at the court started dancing and jumping as if they had springs attached to their feet.
I am exhausted.
I can't go on like this.
Mercy! Mercy! Please have mercy!
King, if you promise me that I will be free and that you will keep me away from my stepmother, I will stop playing the flute. I promise, I promise.
The boy stopped playing the flute, and suddenly, everybody stopped dancing.
As for your stepmother, she will have to move to the farthest town away from you, and she will never return to this town or bother you ever again.
Oh, thank you.
And after that, little Johnny lived happily ever after in peace. The end. The Almighty's conditions. Thousands of years ago, a mighty God lived among all the living creatures. He had not yet created humans. The rabbit was the most talented creature at that time. One day, Rabbit visited the god at his palace, which is also in the jungle.
It is a pleasure having you in my palace. What can I do for you?
Almighty deity, you have control over everybody and everything in this forest. You are a true master. I need a favor.
What kind of favor?
Just one thing. Please make me wise and intelligent.
Well. Everyone wants to be rich, and you're asking me to make you smarter. Why?
Because I want to be more intelligent than all the animals in the forest.
Fine. But you'll have to show me what you're capable of, because I was thinking of making a separate species and granting them wiseness and intelligence. If you prove to me that you're capable, then I will cancel my plans for the creation of humans. What do you think?
I'll do whatever is necessary.
If you can get me 5 blue birds, 5 white butterflies, a bee as big as you, then I'll see what I can do for you.
I'll get them. I won't fail.
In the forest, Rabbit enters looking tired. He sits on the floor beside a pond. All kinds of animals enter and start drinking water from the pond. Then they leave. 5 bluebirds enter and drink water from the pond. Then they start playing and jumping.
Today I'll know what I'm capable of. No, it can't be. It's not possible. That's not true. I cannot believe it. No, they are not that many.
The 5 bluebirds approach him.
Hey, Rabbit, what are you talking about? What's the matter?
It's nothing. It's just impossible.
Please, tell us what's wrong.
Oh, someone told me that you could come with me, but I know that is impossible. You would get tired of the trip.
Are you kidding? We never get tired. We always fly long distances. Flying doesn't make us feel tired. We can go with you wherever you go.
The 5 bluebirds laugh and dance around the rabbit.
Great!
5 white butterflies enter and start drinking honey from flowers by the pond.
Wow, those are the most beautiful butterflies I have ever seen. But no, I don't think they can do that. That would be impossible. What am I thinking?
The 5 white butterflies approach him.
Hey, Rabbit. What are you talking about? What's the matter?
Oh, it's nothing. It's just impossible.
Please, tell us what's wrong.
Well, someone told me that you could come with me, but I know that's just impossible. You would get tired of the trip.
Are you kidding? You're not serious, right? We never get tired. We always fly long distances. Flying doesn't make us feel tired. We can go with you wherever you go.
The 5 white butterflies laugh and dance around the rabbit.
Great!
A big bee enters and drinks honey from a flower.
What a beautiful bee. But no, I don't think she can do it. That would be impossible. I must be crazy.
The bee approaches him.
Hey, Rabbit. What are you talking about? What's the matter?
It's nothing. It's just impossible.
Please, tell me what's wrong.
Someone told me that you could come with me, but I know that is impossible. You would get tired of the trip.
Are you kidding?
No, you couldn't.
I never get tired. I always travel long distances.
Perfect. Let's go, everybody.
Yeah. Hey, wait. You haven't told us where we're going.
That's a big surprise.
Is it good or bad?
Oh, good, of course. Come on, before it gets dark.
At the god's palace, the rabbit, 5 bluebirds, 5 white butterflies, and the huge bee stand before the god.
I was waiting for you.
The god was looking at the 5 birds, 5 butterflies, and the bee.
I see you brought the company.
Will you grant my wish now?
I don't think so.
Why not?
If I make you more intelligent, I would be making a big mistake.
How come?
Because you are already very intelligent.
Then, am I more intelligent than the other animals in the forest?
You've always been smart, but you didn't know it. What is your wish?
They all start talking at the same time. Rabbit leaves the palace, walking out triumphantly. The end.